Welcome to a brand new edition of Insta Chat with the Journalist. It's a brand new week as we bid farewell to August, which is Women's Month here in South Africa. And to us, the rest of the world, it's a new month, 2020 has been quite an interesting year. And yeah, man, but very challenging. But we won't let the negative affect us, so we keep it moving. Today, my guest is none other than the legendary Ralf GUM. Now, I'm very excited about this interview because Ralf GUM needs no introduction. He's a legend, legend called Legends, but he will answer that if he's comfortable with us calling him a legend. But yeah, in the house music fraternity, we call him a legend. Ralf GUM, welcome.
Thank you, Andy. How are you, my brother?
No, I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Are you comfortable with being called a legend?
I appreciate it because it's a positive thing, and it honors me. I put 3 decades of hard work into house music, so it honors me, but I don't know, sometimes legend, it feels like someone who had his peak and I still want to grow, so therefore I don't know what should come after legend. Therefore, I'm not sure, I'm just enjoying what I do.
Wow. You know what? One thing that I appreciate about you is that you're always very humble. You treat the game like you are new, even though, your career goes back to, 1990. They say your career officially started in 1990. And, looking at the house music scene back then, obviously you were in Germany at the time when you started your career. And looking at the game now, did you foresee what's happening in your career right now?
No, I think no one can look into the future, and I never would have thought that I end up on the other side of the world due or partly because of music, and as well, all other changes which happened throughout those 30 years, they were unforeseeable. We didn't know about the digital revolution in 1990. I mean, maybe see the start of it, but digital will completely rule our life. We didn't know. So as well, it changed my career, how you approach certain things. Social media is something you have to do these days now. We didn't have to in 1990. It was not existent,
And you started officially producing in 1993. But before we even get there, I just want you to tell me, what was that moment for you when you were like, you know what, I don't care, what my country's doing. I know Germany is very big in corporate business, but you decided to go the music route. What made you decide to go that route when you grew up in an environment where you had to be in corporate to be successful?
It just was a calling, simple as that. And it wasn't a specific point, I think. I grew into it. I realized I have interest in music, and I had a friend who had studio equipment and allowed me to do some first tests, and I was fascinated. Totally got me, and I wanted to do more, and the more I did, the more I was drawn into it, and ended up making a hobby to a profession, within some years. But it wasn't like I got up one day and do house music will be it for, I don't know, the next 30 years.
And also, the journey of soulful music, because you're a very soulful guy, and I know you get this question a lot, but I have to ask you, what have been some of your inspiration, on your soulful journey for you to discover the soulful side of you on your production?
I mean, obviously other music, a lot of music which influences you, not necessarily house music. It started earlier with disco and funk in the 70s, which probably influenced me. But I think being soulful is something which you have in you, you know. Once I go to studio and once I start working on the track, it always becomes somehow soulful. On some days, I want to do dubby stuff or go deep, and it will be deeper productions, but still there always will be a soulful aspect in it because I think it just is in me. I can't explain it in another way, and I just allow it to happen, you know. I don't force myself to sound different from what I want to achieve in the studio, maybe because there's a different trend or people are playing harder or people are not playing house. So I wouldn't start doing pop now, you know. I think it's, you know, as an artist, you need to get to a point where you are confident to do what you really feel. And this always somehow leads to something soulful in my case.
Yeah, man, and we really appreciate, you know, the music. What I find also interesting about your journey is that you've always been on the, you know, movement of labels. You know, starting with, you know, Chris Peppermint back in '97, and you've been involved in a lot of movements after that. And then in 2001, obviously, you went with Go-Go Music. What, you know, looking at the game today, as artists that are trying to get into the game, would you still advise them to either join a major record label or start their own movements? What do you think is the best approach of entering the house music game?
I think it was more important to have the help of a bigger label back in the days, simply because the production costs, the distribution costs of vinyl are very different from now the digital age again, where we simply can email tracks around for promotion. It's still helpful because a label usually created some platforms for the artists. You know, they are related maybe to radio stations. They obviously have their promotional pool, important DJs who can send the music to get played. But overall, it's not as important as it used to be anymore, I think. You know, social media enables all of us to create our own platform. And at the end of the day, you never know what happens with that label you release on. And if you build a own platform, nobody can take it from you, you know. Therefore, it depends on at what stage you are in your career and really what a label can offer you and bring to the table. Just to be on a big label, I would consider it twice if there's not, you know, really interest, and if the label is not really putting effort into you, then it's useless to be on that label.
Okay, no, good answer, good answer. You know, I have so many questions, but I know we only have 20 minutes. So I just picked up some of my favorite songs from you, and I'm just going to ask you about, you know, the journeys or the stories behind those songs.
Yes.
You know, starting with Kissing Strangers, you know, I know it's one of the popular ones here in this side of the world. That song, what did that song do for you this side?
At that time it was my biggest song, and it wasn't only big here. It was as Take Me to My Love, which came 4 years later. It was a worldwide house club. Was the best-selling track on Traxxas 2008, and the story behind it is quite simple. You know, I knew Monique mainly from her songs from the 90s. We had a thing, and as well due to her work on Naked Music. And I always loved her, but I never knew who she is, and she kind of disappeared beginning of the 2000s. and I'm not sure exactly, maybe 2005 or 2006, Poor People came out. And I was like, there she is again. So I've been looking for her. And I knew she's still into music. She still does music. And I was working on my first album. So I just tried my luck. I had a playback which I thought could suit her, wrote an email, asked if she would be interested in listening and possibly collaborating. And luckily, it took a moment. She really listened and didn't say yes immediately. But after she the playback of the track, she said, yes, why not? And that was my question to Monique. We haven't been in the same room to record it. We never met before we recorded it. It's one of those, collaborations which are now possible thanks to technology.
Wow. And then, and obviously, many years later, you guys recorded Take Me to My Love, which, correct me if I'm wrong, in South Africa, that's when the commercial market really, really embraced you, even though you didn't have to compromise your sound as a, I say deep house producer / DJ. What was that moment like for you?
It was, again, it wasn't a specific moment. I moved here in 2012, the same year the album released which contained Take Me to My Love, and maybe my move here and the stories around it helped to create some momentum, but when I finished Never Leave You, the album containing it, I knew it's a special song, so it was clear it will be one of the lead singles of the album. That it took off that big, nobody expected it, and I as well it was luck because it was kind of the peak of soulful house music in the country at time. And I guess I just had the right word at the right time with the right singer and the right lyrics. So a lot of luck which came together. And like you said, it kind of opened the commercial market, which means I played on a lot of festivals which wouldn't have booked me before, but it didn't change what I want to achieve with my music, which is some depth and, some sexy beats.
Yeah, and also, of course, shout out to you for collaborating with Bra Yu. Rest in peace, Bra Yu. That was a very dope moment, in the community, because he embraced you as an artist, and I know you are also very proud of that collaboration as well. But my question then, then you released, Progressions last year. I want to get into the recent stuff now because I'm just looking at time. So Progressions, I remember when you released Progressions, I think the launch was in Braamfontein, correct me if I'm wrong. And the house heads were there and everybody was just jamming. I was with a different platform at the time, and I think we did interview that day. What does that project Progression mean for you?
It's an album of change for me. I changed a lot of my work routines, which I didn't change them at any point that much, meaning I pretty much recorded every beat on that album myself. I wanted to challenge myself and not use same samples, same kick drums, same snare again. And at the same time, I wanted to learn how to record them myself, not depend on musicians anymore. I ended up still having a lot of musicians for some live percussions and stuff, which I couldn't play because I don't have the technique and I'm not a trained percussionist. But it felt like I was progressing with that album for myself. That's why I as well chose that title. I feel it might not be apparent to the listener, but for me, I learned a lot during that album, and it changed, like I said, my whole working routine different since then, and as well is obviously still being used now in the new stuff.
Mm. Wow, man. And then I saw I don't know if it's just me, but the two songs that you released with CEO and Bongi Mvuyana this year, the titles it's one is Unlove You and then the other one is Don't Let Them Love You. I'm like, okay. Very similar titles. Did it happen by accident or are you trying to tell us something?
No. It's pure coincidence. I released two more singles this year. One is Bad Energy, and it actually says No More Bad Energy, and another one, The Calling. The latest one, they kind of, have the similar topic, but it was pure coincidence. Usually I try to interfere into the songwriting of the vocalists as long as I feel they are writing the right things, And maybe because it's a big topic in the country, the two girls were thinking about the unlove you or don't let them love you side. Both were speaking with me, obviously, about it. If I'm cool to have songs going that direction, and I think as long as the worthy message which needs to be carried to the world, I'm cool with that, and I'm happy if they, to give the girls a platform to sing about things which are important for them to do, or to deliver messages which they want to deliver.
And I must say, you always pick, the most talented vocalists that can sing and write. So how do you pick your vocalists on who to work on, or who to work with rather?
The playback comes first and gives me usually a good idea who to approach. I think you mentioned Don't Let Them Love You and Unlove. If I would have swapped the playbacks between the singers, we wouldn't have the same results, I think you know who will sound on what, and experience helps you to estimate it, I say, because you never have a guarantee that you're right. But usually, if I hear something, I get an idea who to approach. It doesn't always work out, Sometimes you want to work with someone and that person doesn't have time or is not interested. It happens too. Except for this, it's listening to the songs of the artists and not just saying I want to work with everyone, but getting a decent picture of what that singer is able to do, and then write playback, and when necessary, maybe a bit of guidance to get to the final song. And that's all I can do, And then, obviously, I'm honest with you, I try to make them sound as good as I can, and I try to make the maybe sound even better than on other records. So I put a lot of work to the actual vocal editing, and I do little things to make it sound fine, and it helps in the end to, give a complete package.
Wow, and I think your songs, as far as engineering is concerned, they are very well engineered. I can tell that you take a lot of time in engineering your songs. Do you do that yourself, or do you have help with that?
No, the mixing is fully my part, and often the part which takes most time. We call it mixing, but for me it's sometimes more. I really go into waveforms and cut and shape and do until it sounds right and feels right. So I use a lot of time to get the engineering part right, and it's the main reasons why my songs take so long. During lockdown, I really focused fully on music now. I wanted to do a lot of music this year anyway. So I realized when I fully focus on music, I still need like 4 weeks at least for one song because of how I approach every little aspect in it. Sometimes longer. So that's just me, and I do that stuff.
Wow, it takes you 4 weeks just to make sure one song sounds good.
Yeah, sometimes.
Wow. Now that's dedication. That's dedication right there. Yeah, man. Yo, wow. 20 minutes is up already.
You know, I think I could put out much more music if I wouldn't take those little elements which you now experience as well engineered. I could put out more music, but it wouldn't have the same effect, you know. Um, I want to have them standing the test of time, if I'm honest, and therefore they as well must sound right, not only be well written and well recorded and stuff, they as well must sound right.
Mm. And that is very, very good advice because especially with the with the generation of technology, there's always so much pressure to release, we see the trend of like people in studio and then they're like, no, let's release
Yes.
without taking into consideration the quality of the product. So yeah, I really, we
I
really.
feel they are giving away a lot of great ideas, which maybe don't make it to mainstream or to radio, because other aspects have been neglected and it doesn't sound right, or the vocals are bad, or the kick is too loud. If you take a few more days, you realize yourself, oh, maybe the kick is a bit too loud, you take it down. I think you shouldn't rush hard. You have a good product. It doesn't matter if it comes out this Friday or Friday in 3 months. It still will be a good product and will be appreciated more if it sounds right.
Wow. Easier said than done, in this world of pressure where you have to release, otherwise, But yeah, I hear you. That is very good advice. But then as an artist, I think a lot of artists worry about if I take too long to release products or music, then, the industry will kind of like forget me,
Yes.
you know?
The steady pressure of relevance and likes in our society, every day you're not on social media and you don't get a like on your post, I feel like I couldn't be relevant anymore. I think I'm in a lucky position, I positioned myself where I probably stay relevant even if I wouldn't release for another half year or a year. I guess I still have some DJ gigs. It's not my intention. I'm not in there for being relevant. I'm into music to make music, which gives me a kind of relaxed basis to get up and really do it, because I'm not worried about if I'm finished this evening or some when. If I would start out now, obviously it might look different. I as well might have that feeling I need to be relevant every day, but that's not how actually the game works. You build your name over years, you get known for your sound over years, and yes, you need to put the work in and promote every day. But I think if you have talent and if you continue putting out from time to time quality, it will fall into place at some point. It might take a bit longer, but it will fall into place.
Wow. Speaking of releases, no pressure from you, but if you look at the year 2020, I know you've released a couple of singles this year. What can we expect from you?
For now, new single out since a week is with Theo. You mentioned it, Unlove You. Next release will be with Toshi. For a change, something soulful, a bit more Afro again. Comes out beginning of October. And from there onwards, I haven't really planned yet. I did a lot of playbacks and I gave a number of playbacks to different singers. And let's see what will be finished till then. I don't know yet.
It depends. It depends what you finish first.
So just in case I don't have a vocal to release, I still probably have a dub EP finished to come after. Going club roots again for a change.
Yeah, look, I can't wait for the. I love Toshi. I think she's a very talented vocalist, and I can't wait for you to drop it. And yeah, look, thank you so much for your time. I know you're extremely busy. I know you're in studio right now, you know, taking time with your craft. We really appreciate you. We really appreciate your time. Is there anything that I missed that you might want to say?
No, thank you for having me. Thanks to the people who tuned in. I see we have some viewers and some comments. And I see someone loves my German accent. I will never be able to change it. I grew up with it. So, except for this, thanks to everyone who listens to house music, who listens to my music, and who enables me to continue to do what I do, you know. At the end of the day, it's the people enabling me. So that's what keeps me as well humble and grateful, because you mentioned it in the beginning, and thanks for that.
Okay. No, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. And to everybody that that watched this, please subscribe. We are documenting the house music culture on this platform. So thank you so much for the views. Matapel has a question. Okay, last one question. Do you do any internships?
I mean, at the moment, we are in lockdown. It wouldn't be possible anyway. To be honest, no. I don't really have work for an internship. What I do is, since many years, I mentor different people, and it proved to be the best way for me to mentor one person at a time. The last person I took care of and worked a lot with was LSG. And I feel like a proud father now, seeing him during lockdown standing on his own feet and creating something big, interviews and being out there. And I feel like, you know, I mentored him to a point where he can stand on his own feet now and doesn't need too much anymore. So with time, I will move on to the next talent and mentor that one. And once that one steps on his feet, another person comes. That's how I try to give back, and as well, you know, give my knowledge to other persons who are able to use it.
Okay, no, that's great. I didn't know that you mentored Sir LSG. I know he's also doing amazing work in documenting the culture.
So I helped a bit with his album too, with the making of his, when was it, 2017 release. And yeah, we are working on a lot of things together, actually.
Okay, can't wait. Okay, cool, guys, we're out of time. We have to go. If you have a question for Ralf GUM, you can DM him. He responds. But yeah, now he has to get back to work. Thank you so much.
Sharp. Thank you.
Sharp.